Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Casual Friday in the Riv, and it's a cool one today. So everybody, make sure you put on a sweatshirt under your coat or wear your winter coat.
But it's
It's
still
kind of
not as
nippy.
cold as it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's actually colder. It was below freezing yesterday morning. This morning it was a balmy, like 36 or something like that. This morning when
Exactly.
I took the dog out. So,
It was
yeah, it
time to
was
go. It
pretty
was time
good.
to go sit in the sun.
Well, here it is, the last Friday before the election, and boy, hell's a popping. Now we got all kinds of political propaganda flying around. The governor's coming down to misrepresent everything and politics. So I guess we can. I don't even know. I don't even know where to begin, CJ, on all of this stuff. I know we've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. So we'll let you. Let's. Why don't you select item one from the menu?
Well, it was announced today because I didn't receive the press release on it, which I'm surprised at. But it was announced today that the governor would be in Fall River to talk about housing. So, of course, me being the pot stirrer that I am, I made a phone call to Channel 10 and I spoke to Channel 10 and I said, look, when you're talking with the governor, I want you to ask her what she is doing about affordable housing in Fall River and make it very clear because the mayor of Fall River and Ken Fiola don't want affordable housing in Fall River. They only want market rate. But the people of Fall River can't afford market rate, which is increasing our homelessness. Well, we'll see what we can do about that. I said, what do you mean see? That's news. That's what the people of Fall River want to hear about. Those are issues that they have. Ask the question. And they said, well, we'll make sure that the reporter knows. And I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. But, that is a serious question. And I think that people should ask it because right now what's happening is, in my opinion, I think the governor's coming down here to bolster Paul's campaign because he feels he might have a scary campaign or a scary election. I don't think there's a scary election here. Okay, I think the issues have been made very public. I think they haven't been addressed as clearly as they should be. I think both candidates have dropped the ball on addressing these issues and making it perfectly clear to the people where they stand. The people don't know where they stand, whether it be mayoral, city council, or school committee. They don't know where they stand. How can they make an informed selection of who's gonna represent them when they haven't represented themselves to the people? That's my big statement.
Well, no, I totally agree with you, and obviously affordable housing remains an issue. But it's funny that you mention that because I just happened to dip into my archives and got a few little of our sheets here, and here's a here's an old here's an old post about the rents. Landlords in 2005, all you need is first month 500 and a deposit for 250. Landlords, uh, that's '05. With 15, all you need is 850 and first and last in the deposit 850. Now all you need is three times the rent. Uh, First 1900, last 1900, deposit 1900, credit score 750 or higher, no evictions in the last 12 months, no pets, no off-street parking, no backyard, no utilities included, late fees of $50, application fee 65, and maybe you need a third job. So that's a comment from a citizen of Fall River, because obviously they don't know. And then of course this one was another one we downloaded here. Notice to vacate. A lot of those have been going around and will go around once they hit. And of course, this is one of my all-time favorites. I don't know if you can read it. Don't worry about a thing. The Rent-a-Sance Initiative will be great for Fall River. Some people will get displaced. But yeah, she's going to come down here and pretend that look, This is a blatantly political maneuver. You know that our representative delegation, who's so far up Paul's derriere, encouraged her to come down here. They only find Fall River around election time. And she's in a lot of trouble anyway for some of her controversial, some of these initiatives she's created. So she's going to come down here and pretend like she knows about Fall River. She has no clue. If somebody actually asked her, how many affordable housing units did Paul build in his last 3 years versus not as many as a town of 18,000 Somerset has built in one unit. So it's all political hyperbole, and what's really staggering is like you said, I don't know, they're really worried. I'm with you. I don't think that these positions have been articulated. I don't think they've taken it to the people like they should have. Very disappointed in this campaign for every office. That only helps the incumbents, but they're still panicking. And somebody sent me, one of our people sent me some endorsement letters from AFSCME unions. Now we remember that his brother, who got thrown out of the firefighters union and the state union and the local union, has now migrated himself a job back in Fall River where he's negotiating with his two brothers for AFSCME. So that kind of speaks of a little bit of the credibility of this issue. But this is a letter sent by some AFSCME locals. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 5 AFSCME units. But listen, guys, look. If you want to run a union and you want to be up the man's butt, that's fine with me. You want to endorse the guy. He bought you. He gave you gigantic pay raises. We know that. But for God's sakes, tell the truth, will you? I'm going to read this line, and it's actually, they actually put it in boldface print. It says, if he's reelected, Paul has pledged to maintain direct communication with us, of course through his brother, to continue, and this is where it goes, opposes the privatization of government services. I think he was the one that started the rumor that he's going to privatize EMS. Maintain, and this is the one that gets me, and I'm going to read this one very, very, a little higher. Maintain quality, affordable health care coverage for us and our families. That's a blatant lie. And I don't see one name here that I've ever seen at a PEC meeting. And I can prove it. Paul Coogan, when he first got in, tried to stick us in the GIC. So all you union leaders, do your homework. Do your homework. Paul Coogan was going to put us in the GIC. And your affordable health care, instead of paying $50 for a tier 3 drug, you would be paying $165 per prescription for a tier 3 drug. The GIC, 11 communities have gotten out of it. Nobody's getting into the GIC unless they're in financial trouble, which we are not. We have run under budget for years. It's a crap plan. Why do you think all the people who work for the state, who have the opportunity or work for some other entity, get in our health care plan? Do you think it's a mistake that Ray Mitchell is in our retirement system, not the state's retirement system? You think it's a mistake that Linda Pereira is in our health care system, not the DA's office? It's not. It's intentional. because we do have good health care, but it had nothing to do with Paul Coogan. And if you want to do it, you keyboard commandos, go onto YouTube, in a search box, punch in Fall River PEC meeting, and you will see the video that actually was taken by C.J. Ferry when I called Paul Coogan out about attempting to get us in the GIC, and he lied. He said, I did not. And I said, and you can watch the video, I haven't seen it in years, it was a few years ago. I said, I have the email that you sent to the GIC for information on the GIC. And the only reason we didn't get put in there was because he found out, because it's usually he doesn't know anything, that when you stick us in the GIC, you get the choice to pick any plan on that menu, and if everybody picks the best plan, it would have cost you more for the GIC than it does for our plan, which is a lot better than the GIC. That's why everybody that can gets into our plan. So that's a flat out lie. And by the way, he's not done with that. We talk about what he said before he got the ARPA money. He said, Proposition 2.5 override, permanent cuts in police and fire. He was looking at the implementation of the trash pickup fee. And then Mary Sahadi said purple bags and adjustments in the health care. Adjustments in your health care. Your union leaders. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. He had nothing to do with it. Show up at a PEC meeting. They were looking to shift more out-of-pocket expenses into our pocket, like they did a while ago. Educate yourself. Look it up. Sections 21 through 23, chapter 32B. Read it. Read what the PEC does. Well, go look at the video. Paul Coogan tried to screw us out of health care. And in his 4 years as the mayor, we have been under budget $17.5 million. And after we run out of ARPA money, he may be coming after us again. And let's see if you're in a PEC meeting fighting for benefits for your people. You want to endorse him because you got a big pay raise? Be my guest. But don't lie about shit, please. He was not an advocate for quality health care for us. He was just the opposite. So let's call it like it is. And that's not my opinion, it's a fact. And I just went to a PEC meeting yesterday. He's not touching anything now because he's running. But that's what cover up Coogan does. He's going to have them provide cover, but don't lie about it. And now he's going to have the governor come down and then again talking about cover up. I'll turn it back to you. You can start this one. We all read about how he's wasting taxpayer money not to be transparent again. The man, remember, the man. The legend. The Cougs. That's all his ass kisses call him. The Cougs. He will not be transparent about the Perry. Even though a judge said, this is public record. You have to give it to these people. You represent. No, we're going to appeal it again. And we've already spent a bunch of money. I'll let you go over the numbers. And we're going to spend more to delay it till after. We're ultimately going to lose. And we're going to pay another couple of $100,000 to some law firm up in Newburyport or wherever the hell it is.
Newburyport, you're right.
Okay? Pay some other clowns, even though we got a whole law department and they added a few more people. I don't know what they do, except give bogus opinions, like I think the judge is wrong, let's appeal it. They just want to delay it. So CJ, I'll turn it back over to you. You can get into the specifics of this and we can kick this one around for a little while.
Well, according to a report by the Herald News, and the Herald News is pivotal on this report because they're the ones that filed the lawsuit. The city decided to appeal the decision, which I knew, and I think I brought that out some time ago, about a week ago or so, when I turned around and said that I had filed under the Public Records Act copies of the documents ordered released by the judge. And the answer I got back was it is the city's plan to appeal the judge's decision. The city will provide the documents upon the outcome of the appeal, and as soon as the Herald News is provided with the documents. Amazing how this is before the election. Now, according to the Herald News report, the city is entitled to approximately $150,000 or more of legal fees and costs. The city doesn't want to pay those fees. So the Herald News offered the city an option of settling it for $127,000 and change. The city made a counteroffer. The city's counteroffer was $25,000, which both sides rejected the offers. So it's going to be appealed. And this could be a year, another 2 years, probably 2 more years until Paul gets out of office so that he doesn't have to answer the questions. Because there's too many questions. And remember, if this report comes out before Paul gets out of office, Paul might be in for some criminal charges. There may be some people in city government which could be involved in criminal cases. There could be some cases where John Perry is involved in criminal cases. There could be conspiracy problems. We don't know because, again, the mayor who said he was going to be transparent, unlike Jason Correa, and he's never been transparent since day one. I want to know. I want the answers. I'm the public. We have a right to know. And the judge said the same thing. We have a right to know. They made it very clear. Major organizations on the First Amendment, on public records, have all said the same thing, that this ruling by the judge was phenomenal. That it was going to set the bar that needed to be followed. Once again, Fall River is at the top of the worst. And we don't make this up. We can't make this up. This is just the way it is. So think about that before you cast your vote for Paul Coogan, because Paul Coogan is spending your tax dollars frivolously, in order to protect himself and his cronies.
Well, you're right, but correct me if I'm wrong. What that settlement also was, they would take 127 and change, whatever, but also they wanted the information, and they said, we'll give you 25,000, and we're not giving you the report. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So again, they were more concerned. The low ball offer was them to have a reason to delay it, because the reality is they have no intention of ever releasing that report until after the election is over, and hopefully after the terms expired, as you said. Listen, they've been covering up things. I mean, we know the horror stories we've heard about what happens in our public schools. We've got videos of fist fights, and we've heard about the machinations of some of these employees doing oil changes and stuff for years. And what does he do? He creates 4 jobs where there was one, and gives the guy a promotion and said, but I'm going to give you a promotion, but it's out there now that you're doing a side job while you're supposed to be working, and you're going to have to stop that now. And but we'll give you a promotion and a pay raise. So just stop doing your oil changes. And this is the problem. And we know about the security. Nobody's ever heard whatever happened to the head of security who was allegedly involved in some illegal stuff. And again, he was on administrative leave or something else is gone. And we have what's happened. We know what's happening in the in the school department. There's all kinds of things happening. We know about the destruction of the bathrooms and fights all the time but and we've got a couple of Tommy Curry's running again. He wants to get back in. He figured everybody forgot how they covered up Malone, and he was instrumental in that cover up, so he took one term off, and he's like a bad penny, he's returning. And
keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, and everyone will forget.
And the ironic thing is, he may very well get in because he's got a pretty good base of people because he was, guess where? The school department. That's where he worked. And remember, the largest employee organization in the city is the school department, as it is. And I'm going to be accurate, because I'm not going to try to say that that's something unique. It's not unique. School departments are always the largest municipal departments in virtually every city, in the United States, because even little tiny towns that have like 4 police officers and 6 firefighters or something like that, or volunteers, half callmen, they have to have teachers. They have to have elementary ed and middle school and high school. And so, it's just a matter of necessity, because we have to educate, well, at least we're supposed to educate them, but they at least have an organization that's commissioned to educate the children. In some places they don't. But they're always the largest employee group, because it's not only the teachers, it's the administrators, the maintenance staff. They're all part of the school department, and they comprise a huge piece of that puzzle. And to get into the council or the school committee, all you got to do is be well known in that department, and they're going to throw you a vote, because it's not like I'm voting for one person. I got 9 votes. I got 5 votes. I got, I'll throw you one. I know him. Oh yeah, he said hello to me in a hallway last week. Yep, I know him. I know that name. Check. And that's the problem. That's why you've got to really do your homework and pay attention. Look, nothing in 4 years has seen the light of day. You're going to tell me that in 4 years, and we know that's not true, we've never had a major issue in the school department, as large as it is, and we all know we did. We had Malone, we had the security head, we've had pictures of the graffiti in the bathrooms and the damage in the bathrooms, videos of fist fights, all kinds of parents complaining. Not a peep from the school committee. They got a lid, airtight seal on that baby, and everything on the city side, same thing. Perry, other issues in various departments, all squashed. And so, if you like somebody who says he's going to be transparent and isn't, Paul's your guy.
I have to bring something up. And we talked about this several times. Maintenance. I spoke with the husband of a school department employee who has filed numerous requests for a maintenance issue. This school department employee turned around, and this is at the high school, turned around and brought in tools and material to fix the problem. The husband went ballistic. This is not your job. You don't do that. This is not your job. This is a brand new building, and already maintenance of it is falling by the wayside, which we knew on day one when we already were having floods. Okay? Where we have in the schools okay, hygiene products, feminine hygiene products being slapped on the walls of the bathroom used. Okay? When we have doors inside the school building locked so that the children can't get through them, in or out of the building, when we have people walking around the building that don't belong in there, and when they're called out by security to stop, they don't stop. This is how safe our new school is. $263 million plus, because remember, we added a lot of money after the fact, plus, and we still don't have a safe new school. How come if you go to Somerset? How come if you go to Westport? How come if you go to Dartmouth? How come if you go to these places? Some of them have had schools that were 50, 75 years old. They were still working fine. They were still good. Okay? You've got buildings that still look brand new in Somerset. How come in Fall River we can't do that? Why? Because our kids are animals. Our kids are animals. That's our problem. And we don't have any guidance or support for the students to put them in check, because we can't discipline our children anymore. We can't do that, and we can't suspend them, because suspending them gets them what they want out of the school, and we can't give them an in-school suspension because they don't show up. So what do we do? What do we do? Paul obviously doesn't have a plan. He's never had a plan for anything. Okay, his plan was to walk around the school going, yeah, hey, yeah, no problem. Yeah, give me a high five. Give me a high five. Yeah, this is great. Let's have lunch together. That was Paul. And that's exactly how he's running city government. He is not capable of running city government. He hasn't been since day one, and I still don't believe he's capable today. And this is why we are in the problems we are having. Okay? He says that Fall River is in a renaissance. We're doing a wonderful thing. Fall River is moving forward. I don't see it moving forward. I see it moving backwards again, as we've always done. So let me know what you think, Chip.
Well, no, you're right. I mean, I had a relative that was at Durfee that sent me a picture of the doors that were locked, and they couldn't get through. They had to go around. And, the irony is, as usual, Fall River never obeys any law, but there's a life safety code. It's illegal to lock certain doors. You have to have emergency egress and access to emergency egress in case there's a fire, or if they may have an evacuation plan in certain areas of the building for God forbid there's a school shooting or something like that. But again, cover up, cover up, cover up. That only came to light because students were reporting it. We received pictures of some of the damage done to bathrooms, not from school committee people, but from students who sent pictures. And, I don't care what, we're in a renaissance. Buildings don't create a renaissance. People create a renaissance. There were plenty of buildings in Europe during the Dark Ages. The Renaissance began in Europe when people began to become educated again, become informed. Because information is power. And that's why the powers to be that don't want you to know all the illegal and reprehensible things that are going on, they don't want you to know about it. And that's why you run on transparency and you have none. But the Renaissance was created. Remember, the reason we had a Dark Age was nobody could read and write. Only the church, only the clerics could read and write. And if you tried to learn how to read and write, they had a little thing called the Inquisition. They executed you as a heretic. They suppressed knowledge. They suppressed information. That's what Hitler did. When any despot takes over, the first thing they do is burn the books and throw all the educators in jail so they can't inform the children. and then they replace them with propagandists, like it's happening in the United States now. We have all these colleges that are basically brainwashing students about a political ideology, not about what they should learn. I mean, we've got all this stuff going on in every department in the city, but we know nothing about anything that's happening in any department, and especially where his home is, the school department. Nobody knows anything. If anybody knew, I mean, we don't even talk about the fact that we went from 335th to 336th. I mean, the last thing they talk about in our school department is actually educational attainment. They don't do it. You got Shelley Pereira saying, well, we need more money. For what? To make another 65 jobs for people and give everybody a pay raise? No. How about putting more teachers in a classroom? How about reducing the size of class? How about saying, look, we got a serious problem here. Fall River should not be in the bottom in school attainment, educational attainment, and at the top in crime. And I don't care if we're not number one. We might be number 2 or 4. I showed you different stats. We were number 1 in a few, number 2, number 4, number 7. Doesn't make any difference. We're in the top 10. You know, if we had a true renaissance, the objective of our mayor would be to give us safe streets and good education, not buildings. Because as you and I said, CJ, and I'll turn it back over to you right after finish, as you and I said when we went to every meeting and listened to that propaganda to get the debt override for Durfee that we didn't need, but now we'll need it for sure because they just kept spending. But we heard how the building was going to help our educational system. And what was our answer to that every time they said that? Buildings do not educate children, and buildings do not create a renaissance. Back to you, CJ.
Well, I've got one thing to say about this. There's a headline today. I think I read this to you earlier. In the master list, it's MASSTER list. Safest in the nation, maybe, but gun stats show safest means hundreds a year killed in Massachusetts. Isn't that what we're going through in Fall River? So only we're saying we're the most dangerous. Okay, Sam Sutter has shown with FBI reports, the actual FBI reports, not the ones that Paul's using, okay, but the actual reports, recent reports from the FBI showing that Fall River is a dangerous community. It shows that Fall River is a dangerous community. But Paul's saying, no, we're safe, we're safe. That's all bull. That's election propaganda. And with that, I hate to say it, but our time has come to an end. I want to thank you all for watching. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. And remember to turn your clocks back tomorrow. Have a great day. And remember, we're here for you.